I'm streaming.
Let's do it.
Alright. You want to introduce us?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week from the Kingdom Games studio, but today we are live in Steven's own home personal studio to do some concept art. Steven, who are you again?
Hey, community. I'm Steven Dinelli, Art Director for Kingdom Games, and I am pleased to be with you in this new year and our first Twitch show of the new year. I'm excited about that. What have we got going? Our game is launched.
The game is launched. We're fresh into strike teams to do a bunch of new content over the next 6 to 12 months. We've got exciting things coming.
Yeah, and we can't tell you any of it yet.
Yeah, but the teams are we have several strike teams created working on several different awesome things that we will tell you more about in the near future.
Yes.
But for now, just know the teams are deployed and working on all sorts of exciting things.
We are. And our next release is going to be Patch 3. And Patch 3 is going to come either at the end of the month or beginning of February. And I believe that we're going to be implementing a patch and update phase. We'll call it a patch, but essentially it's all the updates and improvements that we make to the game on a monthly basis. Or at least that's our plan for the first month. We might change it, depends on how much we can get in and what we want to do. But right now, that's the plan. So, let's talk about concept art.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, what are we... So last week, or not last week, about 4 weeks ago, you were doing some really beautiful stuff in Egypt. And are we going back to Egypt?
We are going back to Egypt, and so this is the piece that we did last month. It was probably, what, an hour and a half for the entire
90
program?
minutes, 90 minutes or so.
90 minutes or so, and so with where we're going in the story, the expansion of 5 is going to move to the southwest into Egypt and the Sinai Peninsula. And we're also going to move into the southeast and the Tigris and Euphrates River Basin and introduce Babylonians and Assyrians. But first, we're going to focus on the Egyptians. And so last month, or the last time we were together, we took a look and did a little research on the rocks and the environments that you find in the Sinai Peninsula and created just kind of a landscape here with a hint of ruins. And what we're going to be doing this month, if you remember from the previous show, had come across a picture of Hatshepsut. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. Hatshepsut. Thank you. It's very Egyptian. It's a temple in Luxor in the valley there, and I found a couple of images. I found this image here, also this one, and this one gives us a sense of what we potentially would be seeing in a action RPG, that we'd probably zoom in a bit more on that, but that gives us a sense of perspective. So I've got that image up also. And then I have this image of Abu Simbel, which is one of my favorite temples in Egypt. This is one of 2 of the locations, and if you're familiar with the history of Abu Simbel, I believe it was in the 50s or 60s, because of the Aswan Dam further up the Nile, they had to relocate 2 of these temples higher up, so they literally moved every single stone and the mountainside and moved it away from the Nile, which amazing engineering feat. And in doing that process, they discovered that the temples themselves are actually amazingly engineered. I guess there's a room in here where the sun only shines directly on a spot one day a year. It's either this one or the other one. And then I did a quick search just for some Egyptian statues to kind of get a feel of what's out there. That's about it. But so I'm going to start with this image of Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut. Oh my God, I'm dying. And I'm going to show you a different process for creating concept art. And this one's a little, I'm going to call it a little more cannibal. So I've got the image here, and what I'm going to do is just I'm going to cut out Control C, delete, and then Control V to paste that back in. And then I'm going to put the temple on top. And I'm going to hold down the Control key and just get a little bit of perspective going there. It's probably a little much. Clip off that side there. And just scale that up. I'll probably maybe something like that. So that I'm going to turn that off for the moment. Focus on the mountains here. So these are some really interesting mountains. I love the shapes that we have going here, but I want to do something more impressive. So I'm going to do Control T, and then I'm going to right click and select Warp. Warp is this wonderful tool for just stretching and adjusting things based on these 9 quadrants. Does it feel good? Yeah, I think that starts to feel good. I don't really want like the blue sky. I'm just looking for these interesting rock shapes. I'm going to paint that sky in myself. So I'm just going to select that sky and delete it. And then I'm also going to do a Control U, hue saturation, and I'm going to take the color out of here, because what I'm really interested in is just the shapes. And then I'm going to grab my eraser, see what we have. I'm going to grab my chalk brush here. Chalk brush is a little rough on the edges. I think what I'm going to do is just kind of open this up a bit. Actually, maybe pull this guy down a bit too. Give this single rock here. It's kind of an interesting shape. And I'm going to bring up hue saturation again to just quickly darken everything. And that's so with painting, I'm going to go to a paintbrush, and I'm going to use that same chalk brush, and I'm just going to kind of block in some of these shapes that I found very interesting. Put like a gap right there. Just kind of take this over a bit. And then I'm going to blow up this brush. And actually, if you remember from last time's show, I was using some different brushes. I'm just going to go back to those and just kind of roughly block in these shapes. Now with the direction with the light's coming from the upper left, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the upper left over here. Chris, I know at some point Amber Rain is going to be joining the conversation.
She has lost her voice.
What?
Yes, she has been screaming and promoting the stream so long she has actually lost her voice.
Bless you, Amber. Thank you.
She's here in the chat. She is with us as usual, but she has lost her voice, unfortunately.
All right.
But still an open invitation, Amber. If you change your mind, please let me know. We'll bring you in the call.
Yes. And for Amber and anyone else in the chat, if you have questions that you would like to share, you'll have to forgive me. That clicking sound is actually my keyboard. It's not quite level. And, oh my gosh, I want to like super glue it in place.
So, right now you're outlining just the overall shape of what could be the background.
Right. Yep. I'm focusing on just like the big beat in the environment, and I'm thinking back to where we went previously with just the shape of the rocks and the Sinai. They're kind of bubble-like, that sort of thing. And I'm carrying that out here. Like there's a nice shadow here to help show that they're in the valley. And you can see that the image that I started with, I'm almost wiping it out. I want it for the shape. And it's really, at this point, it's just, my focus is just on blocking in those shapes and where we'll eventually go with this. And put like some nice shapes there, kind of prominent. This will come down, carry this guy over a bit. Quick save so we don't lose anything. Just totally getting a feel for these rocks and taking some of those elements and just carrying them through.
And have you decided, like, what is the feeling? Or is this a happy mood? Is this a depressing mood? Is this just an environment? Does the environment have a feel and a tone to it yet? Or is that...
Emotionally, I want something somewhat forbidding and scary. You know, I don't know what the details are that the story is, but I know that the Israelites and the Egyptians go to war. And so as the five lead their armies and move into Egypt, there needs to be a sense of danger, foreboding, excuse me, not forbidden. So that's certainly one of the things I want to try and capture.
Amber's questioning the curvature that you've got. Maybe it should be more jagged. You're trying to be scary.
Yes. Yes. Yes! Alright. So, let's jag it up a bit, because Amber, you are absolutely right.
Now, Stephen, are you very familiar with the Israelites as they migrated towards Egypt, or what is the history there?
I am not familiar with it. I just know it's pretty much been war for 3,000 years. Off and on.
It's called the Exodus.
Well, that's when they left Egypt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They went to Egypt and they were enslaved in Egypt.
Right. They actually, so
And that's when Moses came in. Okay.
right. If there's someone who knows this better than me, please weigh in on the chat. So as I remember correctly, there was some type of famine through the lands of Canaan, and so people migrated south and settled in the lands of Egypt, but the Egyptians were there, and eventually the Hebrews were enslaved, and I believe they were enslaved for something like 400 years. And so enter Moses, and connecting with the Hebrews, realizing that he's actually Hebrew and not Egyptian, and his people have been enslaved, and hey, I guess I got to do something here, leading them out of Egypt. And that took some 40 years, because it was actually Moses' son Joshua who led the Hebrews into Judea and Israel, and like the settling of the 12 tribes of Israel. And then over time there is expansion and contraction of the tribes. And that's essentially what 5 Guardians of David talks about, is that enemies kind of press in on all sides, and David becomes, on his way to becoming king, he expands the lands that they control. And then David and Bathsheba's son Solomon continues that expansion. Or, well, don't quote me on that. I don't know if it's an expansion or maybe if Egypt is expanding. Anyway, they end up fighting over land.
Yeah, that's a contested area of land for thousands of years.
Yes. Alright, so... Oh, does that look kind of spooky?
I would say so. A little foreboding at the moment.
Yeah. Ah! Forgot half the picture. Alright, well... That works, because my concern was that it was getting a little too... There we go. Something in here. Another spiky rock there. There we go. Get a little highlight here. And sunlight, and it should probably make sense if we just brought a lot in there. Okay, so you can see from where we started using the photo reference there and where we've taken it. So it's very much, here's a good starting point. I really like the way these rocks look, and now I want to get in there and start doing, just start getting those shapes, getting that whole feel. Okay, so now it's time to turn on our temple, and I'm going to erase away some stuff that we have here on the temple.
Amber maybe joining us after all.
All right, Amber. I'm just erasing away. What I really want is just that temple shape, and I kind of like these that rock wall there in the middle. And I'm going to do a Control U. I'm going to take the saturation out of that also, And I think I'll just darken it up a bit so it kind of fits with the scene. And I don't know, what do we think? We like something like that? Does that feel good? Does that feel better? Like maybe it goes up to that rock there.
It's an intimidating temple.
Right, so I'm looking at this in my navigator, so I can just kind of get a sense of where I want to go. Maybe we need to make it a lot bigger and push those mountains further back. How's that look? It's I don't know.
Hello, Amber.
Hello.
Oh my, you sound sick.
Amber.
Oh goodness, I came down with something.
How are you, Amber?
Other than coming down with something, I'm doing absolutely fantastic and loving what I've gotten to play so far of 5. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Great to hear.
That is. Okay, so I kind of like the tempo right there. And what I'm going to do, because I'm in just the rough in stage, I'm just going to merge these 2 layers together. And let's get in a little closer here and start looking at ways we can connect this temple with these rocks here. Amber, question came up as to where you're located. You're up in Vancouver, British Columbia, correct?
I am very close to Vancouver. I'm actually 45 minutes east of Vancouver, but definitely in Canada, yes.
Okay. You ever get a couple hours east to a city called Kamloops?
I have indeed gone that far east. In fact, this past August, I made an entire trek right across Canada and back.
That's
So
awesome.
I drove the entire thing.
Wow. How long did that take?
The entire month of August is all it took. Yeah.
All it took.
All it took.
Well, I was actually going to go for 2 months for the trip, but we shortened it because we only had a few people to meet.
That sounds like a good time. When I was a kid, I actually lived in Kamloops for a summer. My dad is a metallurgical engineer, and back in the early 70s, with the birth of the EPA, his company, Draveau, developed a pollution-free smelting technology. So you could mine copper in this particular case, but it's applicable for any type of mining operation, and it recycles the gases and things that are outputted during the smelting process. And the thought was that, hey, you know, with the advent of the EPA, everyone's going to want this technology. And unfortunately, companies in the States just fought them tooth and nail, and Canada embraced it with open arms. So Canada, and as far as I know, Kamloops still has a copper mine and smelting operation there, and it's been pollution-free since the 70s.
That is so awesome. And yes, they do actually still have a copper mine there.
Yeah.
My grandparents actually lived in Kamloops for a couple of years, so I did get to visit them during the summers.
That's awesome. What did you think of that paper mill, the pulp mill?
There's a lot of really cool things in Kamloops. They also lived just a little bit outside of it in a town called Savna, which you blink and you miss it. But
Man, I'm trying to think. The water in that area has a high concentration of mineral, and
Yes,
so the
very
water
much.
is like very almost neon teal blue.
it's actually Actually, it almost does not look realistic when you look at it, but it's absolutely gorgeous.
Isn't that a trip? It's like a beautiful area. So what I'm doing here is just taking some of that inspiration and pulling out some detail in the rocks, just giving them a bit of character. And honestly, that's kind of feeling pretty good. So I gotta figure out what I'm doing here. Just kind of carry this over. Cover up all those people.
So Amber, you're an artist. What kind of things have you said you picked up tips and tricks from Steven. Like, what kind of things have you learned? Teach me the ways of the artist. I need to pick up my art game a bit.
Actually, I've done a lot of Photoshop art for the last decade, but a lot of things that I used to do one way, watching Steven during his old cast that he used to do drawing shows of, and now with these last two in here, you pick up on easier ways to do things that you may not have done before. Like, he uses brushes. I never used brushes before. I never knew how to make them. Watching him, I learned how to make my own brushes. So, and brushes, different brushes that you use really make a difference.
It does. I actually, that's using different brushes and learning how to make your own brushes. I took a class on how to do that. And it's, I'm always amazed how quickly the technology changes and advances. And everyone I've ever met that uses Photoshop knows things that I don't know, and vice versa. It's like if you could get to a point where you have a community of artists who do different types of things and you can share those techniques among one another, it's absolutely wonderful.
Oh, I absolutely agree. One of my favorite things that I like to do is a lot of ghosting effects, blending it in so some things look more ghosted in than others. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but it gives it a haunting look. I like the more haunting, quote-unquote, emo look to my pictures. So.
Emo. Are you an emo woman?
I like the graphical, artistic ability of the emo. I'm not necessarily.
There's nothing wrong with that. Industrial alternative. Pre-emo, I guess. I still listen to the
coloring book. I think is my art skill.
Coloring book. So. Oh my gosh! I have got to glue down my keyboard.
Is that your keyboard? That's not your mouse that you're clicking?
No, it's like, yeah, it's the keyboard because I've got everything kind of sitting at an angle, so it's really comfortable for me to draw. I can't lay the keyboard flat. And so when I hit certain keys, it clicks and it's like, ah, okay.
I was going to say, it sounds like one of your legs on your keyboard are broken or something because it's wobbling like that.
Yes, that is exactly it. I'm like suffering from severe wobble.
Steven needs a new keyboard for Christmas. Christmas is past and still
Christmas is over. You're going to have to wait a couple 100 days, Steven.
I don't think the new keyboard's going to help. I keep trying different keyboards. Right now I'm using this. And part of the reason it won't lay flat is because it's this Microsoft ergonomic keyboard.
Oh, one of the curved ones?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why are you using a curved keyboard?
I don't know.
They're hard to type on.
Just trying new stuff, all right?
All right.
I have a preference for my Razor. Everything I have is Razor.
I'm a Razer fan too.
I like Razer.
I like their stuff. It's really good. So, what are your plans for this temple? Or do you leave that as is and then paint over it? Do you just leave it there and then surround it? How do you?
I'm not sure yet. So right now, my focus for the temple is integrating it. And I've zoomed in a little too much. Sometimes I get lost in what I'm doing. And I think that's the bottom there, so get something going there. Get more shadows, so we have these lines that are pointing in towards the temple. And
it's kind of cool. It almost looks like a tilt shift right now. Like you've made the temple almost look like a miniature temple.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, it's a really cool effect you've got going right now. Very impressed.
One of the things I don't like is this lower corner has all this light in it. Oh, oops. Keep forgetting to slide it over. Keeping the aspect ratio so that whatever I'm drawing on is like center on the screen. I was reviewing the video from last time, and having that little window where you could see me drawing actually was covering up a lot of the drawing I was doing. So I'm like, we got to get rid of that.
Yeah, it's face cams are tough because on the one hand they let you see who's talking and you build a little bit of a connection there, but on the other hand they really get in the way.
Yeah.
It's a quarter of your screen space is dedicated to your face, and you have a beautiful face, Steven. But
Thank you,
I think
Chris.
your art is a little more beautiful than your face.
I agree.
You may have viewers disagreeing. Although his art is fantastic. Some of us would like to see him too.
Yeah, Amber is a streamer, so she knows that there is a delicate balance there of screen space, your face. Do you do a face cam? For some games, it's definitely much more important than others. But if you don't do a face cam, people ask for it. It's
Right.
Then you gotta look presentable even when you're sick. It's hard to balance that.
Oh yes, it really is. I've had to build overlays just so that I knew where to put my face cam, where to put my logos. Oh, it gets a little obnoxious.
It gets hard and heavy to lay out your screen the way you want it, especially with Photoshop, since we're not Photoshop's using window capture, so it's hard to get everything we want. Because if you drag something over, for instance, it would cover up the art, and he's also using a multi-screen setup. So there's a couple little fun complications.
Yeah. It's
But I
not
think
easy.
the final result right now is pretty good.
Well, right now I've just got the pictures, so one of the things I want to do is start, so I'm going to keep these basic shapes of what's going on here, and I'll be able to see those stairs there. So put some kind of railing, and I'm actually going to leave those people there. They'll help. But one of the things I want to do, I think about like the experience here for what this would be, and oops, I want this to be more of a wall down below. So I'm just going to take that color and make these alcoves. There's a lot of them here. And at a certain point, so I've got like this break here. I'm just going to capitalize on this break, and we're going to imagine that, oh, light's kind of shining through there, coming down, maybe a little bit of obstacle that the players got to avoid there. And carry that break down here. And then maybe we'll put like a pile of rock or just fallen pieces here. And that's right at where that that shadow transition. So we got to be careful what we're doing there. And it's also going to be really bright right along where that shadow falls. So we go back a little further there like that. So Amber, one of the things Chris and I were talking about was that a lot of art videos they'll record beforehand and they'll take that hour or 2 hours and they'll cut it down to 10 or 15 minutes, set it to music. And my thought is about that, like when I've watched other people's tutorials, whenever they do that, I don't like it because it's going so fast I can't pay attention. What are your thoughts on that? Should we do something that speeds up these demonstrations, or are you someone who prefers just like watching every stroke?
Well, there's times when you don't have the time to actually sit through an hour long or whatever video. So what I have done and what I think I enjoy watching others do is when they have the full one, but then they also have a 10-15 minute highlight reel. So these are the main features of what you're really trying to emphasize your work on that day, and then the longer one for when they have the time to actually sit and enjoy the whole thing.
I like that. Chris, what do you think about that?
That's doable. Amber, do they just cut, for instance, they just take things like, okay, so first we're going to do this technique, which requires using a brush, and then show maybe a sample of that, and then swap to the next instead of showing Steven brushing the entire image, just showing like that first 30 seconds or so, and then moving on to the next like big step, I guess. Is that what you're saying?
Well, a lot of times what they'll do is that they'll take the first bit and play maybe 30 seconds of it, and then they'll play it at a faster pace, a faster speed, some more of it, and then cut out, like he's doing a lot of the inner alcoves of the temple right now that I'm watching, because I do have a delay, and so that would be him starting on it, and then you fast forward through the rest of it so that you're not sitting there watching him color in each part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drawing rectangles.
That's doable. I like that. I like the idea of having YouTube content is there's like two gambits. There's grab and go, which is I don't have time right now, but I have a few minutes, and then there's okay, let's learn how to do something from scratch, whether that be make a cake or I've done some work in Blender, which required watching some pretty lengthy tutorials for 3D modeling. So yeah, I would like that. I'd like to see kind of like the quick version of like here like if we could break down what Steven's doing here to say 5 steps, and here's 5 steps in 5 minutes and the final result. Just we don't have to show every stroke necessarily.
I say we take a crack at it. Let's take the last show that we did and take a look at that and see what we can do to make that more appealing to people who just want to see it in 5 or 10 minutes.
I would love to know what your guys' opinion on the fact if somebody were to take one of your videos and do something like that for you and show you what it could look like, if you would be interested in having someone do that.
I'm going to say yes.
That sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome. If you're volunteering, Amber.
I absolutely am.
Great. let me know if you need any help pulling the video. I can pull it off. I think you should be able to download it from YouTube, but if I can also pull it off and Dropbox it for you, or anything you need. But that would be amazing.
I have the means to grab videos from YouTube.
Awesome.
As long as I have permission. I don't take anything illegally, so.
Oh no, you absolutely have permission. That sounds great.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Do I get to pick the music?
I'm thinking death metal.
Death metal. No.
Is that possible?
Actually, I'm trying to think.
You would probably want to go with something that is more royalty free.
Right.
Because if you don't go royalty free, then you're gonna get marked by YouTube going, this is copywritten, we're gonna mute it now.
Right.
And then you won't hear him talk or the music.
Yeah. I totally get that. Okay. Chris, we should talk to Aaron and see if Aaron will put together some theme music.
Okay.
I told him my idea about a typo negative cover band.
Oh my god, I love typo.
Me too. And he likes it too. Okay, so I'm getting totally carried away in like drawing this and stuff, and I'm not really focusing on the big beats. And at this point, sometimes like when you're drawing, that happens. You get really into what you're doing and you get carried away. And that's okay. It's art. I love doing it. I'm passionate about it. And yeah, okay, so what I'm going to do is come back here to a larger view. And I'm going to come back in. I'm thinking, oh, actually we're only 50 minutes in? When did we start? 4:30?
Yeah, 4:30. You're about 45 in.
Okay.
You're about halfway through.
Okay. Because I like these 90-minute shows. Maybe we'll even go 2 hours today. We'll see. So I'm going to re-emphasize my large shadow shapes here. And you can see just by doing that, I was able to give a lot more depth. Because it is going to be a hot scene, we're going to have a lot of bounce light. So I'm going to go to these far edges and just kind of indicate some lights there.
I was also curious, what streaming software are you using for Twitch? This could help with setting up a face cam with your Photoshop.
OBS?
Yeah, OBS.
Wonderful. I know someone who's very proficient with OBS.
All right.
Could help you guys set up with a face cam and have the Photoshop in there so that you're getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah, we should probably set some overlay type system up there. Oh, there's so many things we're supposed to do, Amber. It's the nature of the industry is just every day there's so many things that we have to do. It's crazy.
Being here on Twitch is a lot different than it was with just Google Hangouts and whatnot. There are so many different things that people kind of go, oh, you don't have this, we don't want to watch you just because you're missing an aspect or something. So
What? Who does that?
they do.
It's true.
Oh, they absolutely do.
They're very fickle.
Really?
Oh, they are. The Twitch community, if you don't have face cam, a lot of people won't watch because they can't see you and they don't know, right? So they're just seeing the artwork and they're like, we want to see the person actually playing the game or doing the artwork. There's others that will do the artwork or whatever on stream, but they won't talk because they have a messed up voice like I do today, and people won't watch because it's quiet. It's such a fickle community.
So I don't know. Should I include that that little face thing in the corner just so people can see?
That's your call. If you'd like to. I've seen both. We do use them on our Twitch streams here.
Right.
On my personal channel, I usually don't. But I also do fun stuff like wear masks and stuff occasionally. So. It's really it's dealer's choice, but I think Amber is right a lot of the time. I think there's a lot of people who share that sentiment that want a specific format.
Okay.
And
all right. So let me turn on this little thing. So to get the webcam showing up in the corner, what do I do? Right click on it?
What you would do is you would add it to not the scene, but the window, is it called? Oh, sources.
Sources. Okay.
Yeah, add to source. Right click, add video capture.
Where is video capture? Video capture device.
Then you would just drag and drop it in window.
Add existing webcam. Okay, there we go. Hi everybody. For those of you on Twitch that like to see people drawing.
Ta-da!
Yeah, and I am going to put this down in the, what do you think, lower right?
Yep, lower corners are good.
Yeah. And I'm going to spend the whole time drawing right behind that picture. Okay. Am I here?
Yeah, that's why I was mentioning overlays before. I think you're going to have a fan of yours that is going to create an overlay for you, too.
An overlay?
That would be surprising and appreciated.
So I've learned to always drink from a bottle when you're working, because so often you'll be like, flailing, or you're not focused, and it's very easy to knock it over. Okay, so I'm pretty happy about where this is going, but it also, it's still a lot of the original photograph, and what I want to do is just use it for those perspective lines and that vibe, but then I want to make it my own piece. So I am looking at, like, we've got this statue here. Oops. Down there in the lower right, and I'm kind of liking this guy. Since he's already got the lighting and stuff on it. And I've seen people who would actually take this and make it a brush. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it much bigger, and I'm also going to add a couple of them. It's nice with these perspective lines, you can see where it's supposed to go. Just bring this guy over there.
One of the things you had asked is what have I learned from Steven actually in watching these? I used to actually go in and draw all my stuff by myself. I actually learned from Steven that it is okay to borrow pictures from other places and make them your own.
What's the quote? Good artists borrow, great artists steal.
Yeah, nothing's sacred. Steal everything. So I learned a long time ago that, you know, people are paying you money to do a specific job, and it's, you know, there's value in that. You want to be respectful of your clients, and you want to give them their, you know, the best bang for the buck. So, man, don't waste time. All right, so we're gonna put a guy there.
No, I would never have even thought to trace an image like a statue do it like that. I never would have thought of that. It's really cool.
Well, it's really, I mean, at this point, what's going on is they're just the underneath drawing.
Yeah, they're just the shape, right?
Right,
I mean,
just the shape. So I'm going to like merge all these guys. And then come in here. And like our broken fellow. Erase him away. Guy behind the stairs. This guy's going to be in shadow. He's up above, and he's kind of up above. And maybe this guy doesn't have his head. And then we'll go in there and capture, just focus on the shapes that are there. Looks like it's a statue with his arms crossed and got a bit of a face there. Probably holding something, but we can't really see, and maybe he's got some kind of design down the front. And then we'll just add a few of these broken rocks, and then of course we'll come in here and add some shadow. And just bring that down. Works pretty well, right? Yeah. Good enough for what we're doing. This guy's broken and he's kind of hanging over the stairs there. So, some rocks over there to really show that it's broken. This will darken up the stairs back here just to allow us to bring that. And like there's something happening with this edge here. Like this feels too high for what those stairs are. So just bring that along. And then, of course, this guy is going to be all in shadow.
So I'm not sure if you'll remember him or not, but there is a person named Wrath Phoenix that is saying hi to you from another community. You are missed, Stephen.
Oh, hi, Wrath Phoenix. That was very nice of them.
Are these all Shroud fans, Steven, or are these fans that you've accumulated all of your years?
No, it's all Shroud fans. I was a very private person until Shroud of the Avatar. Suddenly, our community manager, Gina, she came to me one day and she said, I had to make you your own YouTube channel. And I was a deer in the headlights. I'm like, why would you do that? And she was, well, one of your shows gets more views than all the other shows combined. That has certainly changed, but that was it at that time. And I was just like, oh, people actually want to watch me draw? What the heck? Okay, we'll go with it. So that's when I started getting into sharing a lot more. I became very open on Facebook and allowed following and started expressing my more political and religious views and sharing things publicly as opposed to privately.
Well, it's interesting to me that you'd be a private person as an artist because the spectator is a big part of art, aren't they?
Well, for me, it's like, I just want to make art. I want to tell a story with pictures, and I want to do it with a group of people. How do we
but
do
don't
that?
you need the group to tell the story to?
Well, that's the thing. I wasn't getting that part. I was getting the group of people that you work with to tell the story. But I wasn't getting hey, there's a community out there that's really interested in what that story is and how you make it. I'm like, oh. So, it's last couple of years, and really Shrouded the Avatar was a huge learning experience and a wonderful experience. Alright, and we are going to emulate that with Kingdom Games. That's why we're much more open about where we're going next with the story and what the plans are. And you know, those plans are certainly months away from starting to see full-on development and that, I don't know, official communication, those channels.
Yeah, we're being a little coy right now, but there are things coming.
Yeah.
Exciting things coming.
All right, so I kind of like where that's going, and I like the extension of the walls here, where it looks like I'm actually just going to go ahead and merge these two. I'm feeling confident about the direction of this, and I kind of like these wall sections here. So I'm going to grab a chunk of this guy right there. Control C, Control V, copy that guy. We're going to bring it over here and just scale it up. See if we can get that perspective accurate. And then what I want to do is make it look like they've started carving this out, but haven't finished. Alright, that feels good. Let me go ahead and merge those layers. And so we're about an hour into this. Normally, and I'm actually really excited where this one's going. Normally, I would start doing a color pass on it, just so people can get a sense of where I'm going to go with color. I don't know, what do you think, Amber? Should we go ahead and start doing some color?
I think color would actually give it some more life right now.
All right. Color it is.
It's alive.
It is.
Although
alive.
I have to admit, I have found myself working with a lot of black and white lately.
I like
Even
black
just
and
the
white.
black and white here looks great.
I think probably the last thing I want to do is kind of get a sense of, like, this was a rock wall that they've carved into. I think to do that, I've got to push that back a bit. Just kind of get a bit of shadow there. Is that doing what I want it to do? Yes. Okay. So let me back. Control C. Control A. Image. Crop. Okay. Now I'm kind of wondering. Is it really? Let me give it a little more foreground there. Just come in here. Actually, I think we could probably just get rid of that wall. We'll just bring the shadow over here like that. And we got people kind of walking up the stairs there. All right, that feels pretty good. Okay, so that's the base. I don't know. We want to do sunny day, stormy, gray day. What sounds good? What happens in the desert?
You said foreboding, Steven.
Foreboding.
You said foreboding. I don't know if it rains too much in the desert, but you did say foreboding.
It does rain in the desert, doesn't it?
When you go with deserts, I'm thinking Phoenix, for example. When it storms, it really storms.
Yeah.
I've never been to the desert. You seem like a world traveler, Amber.
I have been to the U.S., Colorado, Phoenix, California, and all of Canada now.
Yeah, so I'm about to defer on Amber on this one. She says it really storms in the desert. You're going to have to go storm monsoon, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it like cloudy storming? Is it like rainstorm? Is it lightning? What's it like?
When I was in Phoenix, it was El Nino monsoon type thing, massive cloudy skies when those hit. That was during the summers usually, and it got really kind of freaky. But then I'm one who's kind of scared of storms. So
I want to give a shout out to Photostock Gallery. This image here, I've used this a ton of times, and what I'm going to do is just copy the image and paste it, and the palette here, these colors, I love them. And in my mind, that's just like wonderful stormy. So
that is a perfect sky.
Yeah.
Well, for the storm. That would be a scary sky.
It is a scary sky.
Perfect scary sky.
Very foreboding.
Yeah, see?
Do a little control, actually, nope. I'm going to do a control L, bring up the levels, and I'm going to pull out some of the white. So I want those colors, and then we turn this to overlay, see what it does. It's like, oh yeah, actually, hey, that is kind of, oops, went off the screen. Kind of like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So, just going to grab something like that, leave that on overlay. Our desert color is going to, actually something I can do, I'm going to copy this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up Control L, levels. I'm going to reduce the amount of black or dark, and I'm going to reduce the amount of light, and that's just going to kind of flatten everything out a bit, but that'll keep my shadows from going so dark, and then allow me, when I start painting light, to start getting some light in there. Okay, so I've grabbed this image because this image has colors I like, and I'm just going to turn this, call that layer color, and we'll call the one we're working with base, and you can see the difference there. There's much less contrast, and that's intentional. And then I'm going to create a layer on top. Actually, we'll call this rock, and I'm going to fill this with I don't know, kind of a very gray deserty color, kind of the light area. See if we turn this to overlay. It's a bit green, so I'm going to do Control U to bring up hue saturation, and I'm going to shift it a little more red to get what I'm looking for. And I'm also going to Control L and just lighten it up a bit. So we're still foreboding. And then here on the color layer, I'm going to switch that to normal, turn this guy off, And I'm going to grab kind of this medium gray blue, go back to overlay, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to hit a few of the shadow areas, like where those rocks are getting yellow isn't quite working for me. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn on that color, the rock color, and then I'm going to create a layer on top. Actually, yeah, we'll call it paint.
Carl Isle says greetings, Steven.
Hey Carl, how you doing? Welcome. There we go. Any questions so far? Is everyone getting where I'm going with this?
I am blown away by where you've gone with it.
Okay. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I've created a paint layer, and I want to go and get one of my cloud brushes. I rearranged our brushes from last time, so I've got to go in the stack here. And where are they? Is that it? Is this it? Oh, no. Where are my cloud brushes? There's one. Oh boy.
Happy New Year to you too, Carl. Steven is in the midst of some beautiful concepts
Here we go.
for Egypt. And he loves questions. So if you have any questions for Steven, please ask.
Yes. So I'm going to get, using this cloud brush, and I'm going to get some lighter colors there. And Alright, that's not going where I want it to go. So honestly, I'm going to go back to, I need a rough brush. I'm not sure where to go here. So I'm going to go to the sponge brush. And there we go. I'm just going to start getting these shapes and colors in here, and something I want to do is I want to carve out a hard edge for where those rocks are. As we go down in the canyon, even just lighten it up some more.
So where are the clouds layered in the background, or they're done as a filter and then the opacity is turned down?
Well, they are actually, so here is the photo image, and with a little bit of paint and stretching and whatever. And what I'm grabbing here is really just the color palette, where the shadows or this Payne's gray blue starts to warm up, and then you've got this yellowish, kind of sickly yellow to give it that stormy feel. And so I just set that to overlay, and then I throw a color on there for the rocks, and then I start painting on top, because what I don't want to do is just use the photograph as is, because that's just not cool. However, what is really interesting about that picture is really wrong spot, is really the colors. Those are the things that really get me excited about that image. So come in here, this dark and stormy sky. Lighten that up there, keep our rocks very sharp and jagged. And get some highlights there.
So I do have one question for you. With the sky,
Yes.
When you're using your paintbrush, do you do it on the same layer as the sky you copy pasted there, or are you using a second layer, maybe third layer, and then using the blending options to blend it all in together afterward?
Thank you for asking that question. I completely forgot that I didn't have my layers showing up. So I like to start with 50% gray, and that's our rough right there. Just slide this guy over about right there. Actually, maybe a little further. That'll work. And then I did the level adjustment. So I took out the lights and the darks. And then that photo, I grabbed it and I set it to overlay so I could get the color on there. And then this rock shape, I just grabbed the art and I filled it with that color, and I set that to overlay on top of all the rocks. And then I've got a paint layer that I'm actually painting on now, and that's where I'm just using the colors from the image beneath to paint on top of that.
See, even just sitting here right now and watching and hanging out with you guys, I'm learning a whole lot. So thank you for actually answering that.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Questions are good. I like questions. Uh-oh. My Photoshop's being wonky. For some reason, it will just start like beeping at me every time I hit a brush.
Have you been saving, Steven?
Yes. Yeah, dude, I save all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm just asking because I know the pain of
Oh, yeah.
the crash.
Okay. This is actually looking pretty cool, but it also has a long way to go. So I'm going to focus, we're just going to focus on the background, and then I think next time we'll just continue this show. How's that sound?
Sounds awesome.
Does that sound cool? Let me go find my cloud brush. Remind me to rearrange my brushes before next time. So those are the kinds of things. Well, there we go. That starts to feel like that storm is really coming down. It's not working? Yeah. This is a brush. Color dynamics. I hope this is the right brush. Yeah, it is. Definitely need to do some rearranging. So I'm going to take down the opacity on the brush here. And that'll give me some hard edges. And like with all art, you want a combination of soft and hard edges to get that emotional impact. And I think one of the things I want to do down here is just really lighten up that edge. Oh, and I should have done it on a second layer.
Which was one of the reasons I was asking before if you use multiple layers, because I've always noticed when creating on the same layer, I go, oh no, I made a mistake, and then it makes it harder to correct it when you do it on the same layer.
Exactly. So yes, multiple layers are a must. And actually I feel like I'm starting to lose it. I have such a good thing going there. So I'm just actually going to delete that paint layer and start again. And you know, we're having success with this square charcoal brush. So I'm going to bring it back, and I love that dry brush feel that it has. It's very much something I like in my work. Get a little bit of more light in there. We've got some warm colors. And let's take a crack at these rocks. Get a nice light edge right next to that dark shadow. I'll bring these out a bit. Let's get some more light in here. So with the lighting solution, it's kind of changed dramatically. Almost make this like a cliff wall. Man, I feel like I'm losing it.
What aspect do you think is not good?
It's just...
Amber, you've got a better eye for this than I do. Is he losing it?
Personally, for me, I love his artwork, but I will say that the just above the buildings, between the mountain, the rocks, and the building is looking a little sandy there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think it looks great. And when you do add the more color, you know, and whatnot in it, extra touches, it's gonna look fine.
It's not looking fine now. I don't know what to do. Like,
You can get it back.
I can.
We have faith in you.
Alright, so that's what we got going light-wise. Over here. this, and I want to, let's just literally carve out that negative space.
Also notice that you put the sky layer over top the cliffs, which shadowed it out a lot darker than you might. I don't know if that's what you were going for, but for extra pop, maybe putting it on top of the sky layer instead of under it. Sorry, I'm squeaking.
No, it's all right. So I could do something like that. Bring in more color. Actually, that does help quite a bit because then I can start putting the darks in where I want. Did you get a chance to finish 5 Guardians of David, Amber?
I have not gotten to finish it, but there's a reason for that. I've played it through once, but you can never finish it because you can play it through again and again. And I'm going to tell you, I love Ariel. I love her. She's great.
I like Ariel too. I was very excited about that. And those stealth missions are a lot of fun. One of the ways we're looking at improving upon the experience is how can we get more of that?
A couple of the great things that I actually was promoting what's so great about the game, and as you guys may know, I actually did call this the game of 2015.
Oh, we remember. We remember.
Yeah.
We quoted you on that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did. And it's because of how it's not only a game that you can play, but it is a game that you can learn. I am not one that is very knowledgeable about the Bible. So while I was playing it, I was learning not only what was intended from Kingdom Games to put in there, but also where it came from in Scripture. And to me, that was absolutely fantastic. And Ariel being my favorite character, I actually named my daughter. My middle daughter's name is Ariel. It came from the Bible. It was supposed to be Uriel, but we changed it to Ariel because she ended up being a girl instead of a boy. So she has actually got a biblical name. So that's probably another reason I love that character.
That's cool. Alright, so something I like to do is image, rotate canvas 180 degrees. And so when you quickly look at it when it's upside down, you can see what's working and what isn't. And lightening up this area here quite a bit is going to help it work a little better.
What a great idea. I've never actually thought about flipping things upside down to see how they... That's awesome.
Yeah, I've known people, they keep a mirror with them and they'll actually look at it reversed to see how everything's going as they're working on the image, and it's like, oh, actually that's pretty cool. I get that. I want to bring in a little more dramatic shadow over here. Does that feel right? Oh, maybe if it was lighter. All right, image. image rotation, rotate 180, and that looks, you know, different from the way I was seeing it in my mind. But I like the drama that's coming out of the sky here. It's feeling very stormy-like. I'm definitely going to have to work on that. Definitely some different brushes. Get a feel for it. So the next thing I'm going to do is throw on a layer, call it Color Dodge. And I think I'm going to turn everything off here. I'm going to go to Select Color Range. I'm going to kind of just hit the light area there. Take that down a bit to create a mask. Turn everything back on, and then in that color dodge area, just fill it with a, I don't know, let's go with kind of an orange and see what happens. Wow, that changed it dramatically, didn't it?
Well, a delay, so I'm going to have to wait a second, but I hope it's dramatic for the best.
Not really. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, let me try, where's my sponge? There we go.
Almost volcanic.
Yeah, well, that's not going to work either. So I'm just going to use a soft brush, and what I'm going to do is pull out a lot of that color. And have it yeah, come on, work with me.
So I want to say thank you for allowing me to sit in with you guys. I just got a call that I'm supposed to be at my mom's birthday party, so I need to jet.
Yeah.
But
No worries.
I want to thank you guys for letting me hang out.
Thank you
are
for
very
joining us,
welcome.
Amber. Do you wanna plug Avatar Radio or anything?
I wasn't
Yes.
going to, but I could.
If
Yes.
you'd like to, please do.
Avatars Radio, it's not just for Shroud of the Avatar, even though it was created in that community first, is the radio station online that I created in a while ago. 2 years now. We're celebrating our 2-year birthday this month. So it can be found at avatarsradio.com, and always looking for requests and people listening. So, hey. And make sure you guys are playing 5 Guardians of David. It kicks butt. It's awesome.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Amber.
joining us, Amber.
Have a great night or a great day.
You too. And if I could ever join you guys again, I would be very happy to.
You are welcome every time.
Thank you so much. Take care, guys.
Have a good one,
Bye.
Amber.
All right, Chris. I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at right now.
I'm very impressed.
I'm not so sure that that's the way to go. I'm going to bring up the saturation on that color quite a bit. That might be a little much, but
Yeah.
uh,
I'm talking to him right now. Yeah.
all right. Who is that?
That's Scott Loving.
Ah,
That looks good, Steven.
thank you. I honestly, what I would like to do is, I think I'll work on this over the next 4 weeks, and then for next month when we do the show, we can start something new, but I'll start with the process I went through to create this and finish this.
Sounds great to me.
Awesome. That's it for today. Community, I'm Stephen Donnelly, Art Director for Kingdom Games, and it has been a pleasure to be here with you, showing you what's coming next for 5 Guardians of David. Chris?
5 is available right now on Steam, so if you'd like to pick it up, just look up 5 Guardians of David on Steam. We're also on all of your favorite social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, we are there. We'd love to hear from you guys, so if you ever want to get in contact with us, just post something on the Steam Community Forums or shoot an email to info@kingdomgames.com and everyone will get it and we will get a look, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. We'd also love to see you come back to watch Steven again. He will be up again in 1 month. He does the first Thursday of every month he streams, and then the rest of the month I'm here every Thursday with different people from the studio playing 5 and talking about all sorts of fun stuff.
Yes. All right, community, thanks again. Have a great week.
Have a great week, everybody.